As if, right? I don't know about you guys, but the last time I went shopping, I didn't look through the clothing racks, put on a shirt, and be like, I want something horrible and out of my control to happen to me. Will this shirt accomplish that? Whether we like to admit it or not, most of us victim blame in our everyday lives. It may not be as blatant as the video shows, but it's through our little comments that place partial blame on the victim instead of on the perpetrator or whoever committed the crime. In order to evaluate this problem, we must first establish what the problem is, why the problem occurs, how the problem inhibits growth of the victim, and how we can see victim blaming in our modern communication. So, what is victim blaming? Victim blaming is a devaluing act where the victim of a crime, an accident, or any type of abusive maltreatment is held wholly or partially responsible for the wrongful conduct committed against them. This can happen in legal professionals, and medical professionals, and mental health professionals. You can also see it in reactions of friends and family. An example of this attitude would be she provoked him into abuse. They're both to blame. Her actions did not cause him to abuse her. That is a separate relationship. And you have to view it that way. And it's really easy to make those comments, but that's what victim blaming is. It's placing part of the blame on the victim, even though something out of their control happened to them by a perpetrator. So, now that we've established what victim blaming is, why do we victim blame? Sexual assault is scary. Being mugged is scary. Being abused is scary, and they're very scary realities for us to think about. So when we victim blame, we're seeking to distance ourselves from that reality. We say, I don't do any of those things, so this can't happen to me. If I don't do this, if I don't dress like that, if I don't look like that, this can't happen to me, and this horrible, awful thing will never happen in my life. An example of this is this guy gets mugged late on a Saturday night, and you go, well, I'd never be out that late. I'd never be alone. I'd never have my money carried on me that blatantly, so that would never happen to me. Placing part of the blame on him and his actions in order to make us think that could never happen to us. It's also societal indoctrination. We are taught that we are supposed to protect ourselves through sexual assault classes, through self-defense classes, through carrying arms, through having mace, through having pepper sprays, through never traveling alone, through dressing conservatively if you're a young woman, through being strong if you're a young man. We are taught that it is our job to make sure these things don't happen to us. The really funny thing is that only 1/3 of all sexual assaults are from strangers. 2/3 are from acquaintances. So all of these things we've built up to happen to us in a stranger situation, that's not even most likely when a sexual assault will occur. So it's so interesting that we built this up in our society that it's our job to protect ourselves, even though we're most likely going to know the person and be comfortable with them. So now we've established why we do it and what it is. How is this harmful? Why is this bad? According to Erin, victims of sexual assault are 3 times more likely to be depressed, 6 times more likely to have PTSD, 13 times more likely to use alcohol, 26 more times more likely to abuse drugs, and 4 times more likely to commit suicide. These statistics prove it is hard to be a survivor. It is hard to overcome this. It's hard to get past this. And when we victim blame, we inhibit the growth of the survivor. We negate their feelings and make them feel guilty for something out of control that happened to them. They feel powerless, and we blame them. Something awful happened to them by someone else, and we blame them, even though they feel powerless, and we negate that feeling of powerlessness. We place that guilt on them, making them more likely to not grow as quickly, because the healing process is hard. And it's monetary. If they are more likely to abuse alcohol, they're more likely to abuse drugs. That's a monetary problem. So that's why victim blaming is a problem. So now we've established what it is, why it occurs, how it's harmful. So let's look at a couple examples of it. So this one's from Twitter. Do you think that if she wouldn't have been drunk, do you think she wouldn't have gotten raped? This comment. And she was also drunk, and she was also 16. The legal limit for drinking is 21. That is underage drinking, and that's a misdemeanor. So again, we're blaming the fact that she was drinking, or we're blaming the perpetrator. We're giving a total lack of accountability for the perpetrator, because hey, she was drunk, right? Or she was 16, so that's obviously partly her fault, right? It's always sad to see young women become victims of sexual offenses. Do not drink too much on New Year's Eve and regret your actions. That's the part that bugs me. He's talking about young women being sexually offended. Why would that be their actions? So most people victim blame out of ignorance. We victim blame out of ignorance of how much pain we are causing. So now that you've been empowered by knowledge, you know what this